Thank you, Lindsay. Oh my goodness. That was beautiful. Oh my gosh. You know that or you don't, but I know how connected we are when I have been inspired to share a message that then every other person who comes to bring spiritual nourishment to our Sunday also has that same inspiration. And there's that same thread of truth and depth. And I just find it so comforting. I find it so comforting. There's only one mind, no matter where we are in the world, no matter what we're doing. There's only one mind, and truth seeks to come through that. I have a couple of jokes to share with you, though. And as you can see, Reverend Michael is not here, so I got to do away with the podium for a moment. But he is here with us on Zoom and in spirit because everything that he was inspired to share, from the Voice Celestial, this epic poem of the mystical journey from the darkness into the light, all of it is truly what this season is about, and it is what our longing is for. But first, I'll share with you just a couple of little funny jokes. The first one I have for you, I kind of got a chuckle pre-service. So, what do you call a candle in armor? A nightlight. And the second one, Lord, I hope it's not true for me this morning. Okay. So, here's how, I think this is how it goes. Forgive me, I'm not good at this whole joking thing. So light travels faster than sound. That's why some people seem brighter until you hear them. Okay. That's all for that. So, okay, John's giving us like a head shake sort of thumbs up. Oh, well, it is what it is. So this morning we are preparing the way. This month we are traveling from darkness into the light. And I was thinking about it. I've been thinking about it all, like, I was about to say all month, but I've been thinking about it for a while, actually, for years, since, generally speaking, during December, we talk about the light and we talk about darkness and how the light always overcomes, and how that Christ consciousness invigorates and enlightens the spirit that we are, that Christ consciousness. And I thought, why are we so obsessed with this whole light thing, right? And then I realized, I started doing some research, and I realized that for much longer than we've had light, we had darkness. So no wonder we're obsessed with it still, right? Living in this one mind, we live in this race consciousness where for many centuries, the only light that we had at this time of year in North America was candles, right? Because it gets dark so early. And who's not a little bit creeped out by the darkness when they have to go, walking home from their job at night, right? And so there's always these mythological almost ideas about what might be creeping around in the darkness. And since the darkness takes up most of the day during the winter, we start to really have time to reflect on that inner darkness, right? And the inner light. But we're, as a species, obsessed with this light, and we can't wait for it to come back. The truth of it is that it's always there and it's never left us, right? Dr. Ernest Holmes says that we are an inlet for the divine light. We are an inlet for the divine. We are also its only outlet. I know I say this a lot, but it's that idea that if the divine is ever to be known, it has to be known through each of us. That if it's ever to be seen or felt or heard or experienced or expressed, it has to be by means of us. And yet we find ourselves often dwelling in this sorrow that is our own life, right? that our own life is so overwhelming, or that we have struggle or suffering or whatever it is, the shadows that lurk within the deep recesses of our own unconscious, that we seem to have a hard time sometimes getting out of our own way. And so here's the most perfect time of year to bring that out into the light, to bring our awareness to it. It is the season for miracles. We're in the third day of Hanukkah, and I've been studying the Kabbalah, and I've been studying what the Kabbalah is, the mystical aspect, the mystical realm of Judaism. And what the Kabbalists teach me, what they've taught me in studying what they believe, what they know to be true, is that everything begins in a spiritual nature, that everything has a spiritual meaning, including Hanukkah, that it's not just a political holiday or a revolution of people who were oppressed, that is the metaphysical, that there is a metaphysical aspect to it that says that there is miracles within each of us, that we are the oppressed by our own doing, by our own thoughts, by our choices, by choosing to turn our back to the light, by unconsciously not realizing what's tangling us up inside. And this is the miracle of Hanukkah, is that every one of us can prepare a way, that the way is already clear, but a miracle meaning not like something happened that wasn't supposed to happen, or something happened out of the blue. What the Kabbalists teach me is that miracles are our nature, because we are spiritual by nature, that this physical universe is just a reflection, an aspect of the divine whole, right? And so we must begin to prepare a way for that light to shine through us, through all of our cracks and crevices. Each of us is, in a way, that's cement, that sidewalk with that beautiful flower poking its head through. Once we've gathered enough spiritual energy, enough spiritual power to break through that crack, to make the crack and break through it and let our light shine through. And so what I wanted to share with you is that one of the ways that we do this is through prayer, is through affirming what is true. And what is true is not always what is seemingly real. But we prepare ourselves, they say, where two or more are gathered, not because there's more power, not because there's more God, not because there's more divinity in more than one person coming together, but because the affirmation, the spiritual conviction of a group of people collectively coming together for a greater good does raise the level, that vibrational energy of consciousness. And so what I would say is that for us, one of the things that we can do to prepare our way to start breaking through that cement that has solidified on our hearts or on our spirits this year or in this moment, one way to start breaking through that is to come together in consciousness. And what I mean by that could seem very like ethereal or abstract, or maybe a little bit ambiguous. Like, what does that even mean, to come together in consciousness, right? What it means is that we can do things like coming together for our discussion groups. We can come together to right here on Sunday and sing together. I know there's many of you who are at home watching or singing, and that raises the vibration of the entire planet. We already know that the kindness is putting on the mask, right? Because that's what's kind to another. Because we literally can affect everyone around us. And in that same way that a physical principle or law is is a parent in that same way as spiritual laws are right there as well. And so we can come together. One of the things that we have is a 10 a.m. World Healing Meditation. Well, sorry about that, folks. Thank you so much, Lindsay. We have the best team ever. Not only can I call my co-minister on the phone and say, hey, man, you got to take over. We also have our beloved Lindsay Hunley, who just knows what to do and how to do it. Then we've got John Broderick over here, who's getting stuff done. Electronics are electronics, right? I mean, it is what it is. We're living in a virtual world where nothing and everything is real, right? So let's just wrap up this Sunday with knowing that we are preparing the way. Let us each in our own way, every day, prepare the way for our hearts to open, for our minds to live and be in peace, for the spirit of miracles, the joy of the light, the preparation for a greater good to come about, knowing that we are the inlets of the divine. And I invite you to just move into prayer with me now as I recognize the oneness and the allness and the wholeness of this divine good that I call God. There is a mighty, mighty good, and it is living in and through every one of us. Every cell of our body, every atomic particle, every galaxy and universe, it is all encompassed within this one divine good that I call God. And it is right here where we are. It is where we breathe. It is where we live and move. We have our being in this good God, in this divine presence, in this divine intelligence. And I know, I speak my word of spiritual conviction and authority that everything that is needed to be known, that everything that is needed to be felt, that every good thing is upon us. And as we open our hearts and minds and eyes and ears to living the life divine, I know that we can experience nothing but a greater sense of well-being, a greater sense of joy, a greater sense of health. I know that we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers in this world that we live in, this human existence. I know that this body is our temple, the temple of the divine, so that we can experience life in just this way, and how good it is to be alive today, grounded and affirming the truth and beauty and grace of this life. I am so grateful, so blessed, so honored to be alive in the world today. How good it is to be the ones who have been called upon to be here now. And I give my words to that infinite law of mine that cannot help but answer, yes, yes, it is done unto you, Nicole. It is done unto you, world. It is done unto you, beloveds, as you believe. And so it is, and so I let it be. And now I'd like to invite you to stay in that higher resolve, that higher conviction of consciousness as we say together, or I say, if you'd like to join me, you can. May we who are merely inconvenienced during this time remember those whose lives are at stake. May we who have no risk factors remember those who are more vulnerable. May we who have the luxury of working from home remember those who must choose between protecting their health and making the rent. May we who have the flexibility to care for our children at home while their schools are closed remember those who have no options. May we who have to cancel our trips remember those who have no safe place to go. May we who are losing our margins in the economic market remember those who have no margins at all. May we who have to settle in for a quarantine at home remember those who have no home. As our nation and world are gripped by fear, let us choose love. While we cannot find ways to wrap our arms around each other, let us find new ways to be the loving embrace of God. And so it is.